They almost spotted me once. That's another story. But I had information that we're going to hit a bank, and I got the information. They were going to hit the Williamsburg Bank in Williamsburg. When I reported it to my commanding officer, he told me, this was his words, I read it in the book, what are you doing? Let the fucks kill each other. You know, there's like Park Avenue. That's how they treated the ghettos area. Mm-hmm. You know? It's just like when you see these poor little white girls getting a murder. Do you hear about Hispanics or blacks? No. They don't get that publicity nowadays, you know? But with Andrew Glover, I had enough information. I told Andy about it. So Andy says, Joe, come over to my precinct. I made an appointment. He used to wear plain clothes. Talk to my commanding officer. Because they're doing it in his command and in my command over the bridge. His commanding officer told me the same thing. Don't bother me with this, you know? And I said, one day you're going to get a cocktail if you don't do something about it. Again, what happened was, I lived in Queens, Mascot. You know the area?
What area was it?
Mascot, Queens.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
Yes, I had moved to Lower East Side. I lived in Mascot. I was doing an 8 to 4 tour. My radio went on. 10 cents wins. How did you say? You haven't heard the news, etc., etc. I forget how it was broadcast. Two New York City police officers were shot and killed in the East Side, the Lower East Side. Police officer Andrew Glover and Sergeant Frederick Reddy were shot, gunned down and killed. I jumped up. I heard, I put the radio came on to wake me up so I could go to work. And I told my wife, oh, it rained. They killed Andy. I went to work. I finished my tour, and I went to the 9th precinct at 4 o'clock after I finished my tour, my 8 to 4 tour. I went upstairs to the night. You know the night. You ever see NYPD Blue? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the 9th precinct. The beginning of the show, that's the 9th on 5th Street. That's the actual 9th precinct. But they go Hollywood on it, and they film it in Hollywood. That's the 9th. I went upstairs to the squad. I went upstairs and said, hey, any word on the shooter? He says, yeah. He's right there with the array of photos. They robbed the Williamsburg Bank.
Wow.
And I went up there and I says, look at this shit. 4 guys robbing the Williamsburg Bank. And that, not Avilés. Avilés had his boys do, the job. But there was Louis Velez. He had a bandana, the shooter. Then he looked at the camera and he pulled it down so you can see him. That's how crazy Louis was. Louis Velez. Not Freddie Avilés. Still different. Mm-hmm. And so this is in my story. In other words, the department did not listen to me. And I went back to my commanding officer and I said, I told you so. He didn't like what I had to tell him. All right? I tell the story how these 2 police officers were killed because the department, my commanding officer and Ellis were remiss in doing their job. It's a good story.
And did this happen often where, they didn't really care about, helping out or stopping crime with those kind of people?
It's like anything. If it's a ghetto area, right? It ain't going to happen in Park Avenue, Madison Avenue. It didn't happen in the 19th precinct where you have all the people with the money. I mean, if there's a complaint, I'm not saying that complaints when I follow up with it, but there was always that time when the cops or boss says, Dad, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's our job. My back says, the city of New York. I used to tell them. When I first got to the 3-0, they suspected I was, like I said, a field associate. And it was a badass block. Mm-hmm. That block became my sector later on. I was living that precinct, and as the cops, I was driving with, showing me the area. I remember one cop telling me, see this block over there? We stay out of it. What do you mean? Badass area, a lot of drugs. And I looked at him, excuse me, I said, what the fuck are we? We're the cops. What do you mean we can't go in there? I broke the ice. I started going in there. Got a good partner. Boom, 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 boom. Before you know it, all the cops started following it, going in there. I mean, come on, you're a police officer. You're not supposed to go through a block because it's bad. Mm-hmm. But again, yes, they had a quota. The department had a quota with summonses. You were a super cop if you get out a lot of summonses. Because it brings revenue, it brings money into the city. You're a good. I shouldn't say super cop. You're a good guy. They like you. But if you can make your collars, it's okay. But if you make, I came back in 1981. I was one of the top 10 cops in New York City. It came out top 10 cops with overtime and arrests. I was one of them. Mm-hmm. The word came out. Watch this guy. In my tree, right? He's taking too much overtime. Is he making arrests? Is he making rape collars? He's catching guys who will kill us. He's doing his job. You gotta pay him. Yeah, but put him on a foot post. You think that's fair? Are these? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
That's what was going down in my time. Keep the overtime down. And if a cop is too busy, they didn't care if you were a super cop. Put him on a foot post. You know what I did when I was in the foot post?
What?
I mean, college. I found them. Yeah, I found them. And then they would assign me to a sergeant. Control this guy. A good sergeant said, Joe, you know, a good sergeant would tell me, you bothered me today, but, you know, Captain doesn't want to make college. You know, our job is if you get involved, you got to give it to the other guys on patrol. I make college, but I work with sergeants that says, Joe, I got to let you take it. You caught the guy. But in my book, I read about one black sergeant that told me, you don't make a collar, you give it to somebody else. You know what I told him?
What?
Fuck you. You know? I'm a cop, and if we come across a collar, I'm taking it. That's what I told him. You know?
Mm. And why were they so adverse to letting you make collars? Like, were you making other cops look bad? And
no, you kidding? No. Because other cops, I didn't want to make a collar. If they told me, I remember one time this cop called me over, anybody looking for a collar? So I go up, my partner was over, I was driving with this black officer, and I said, what's the problem? Well, listen, Joe, we don't want a collar, but she had cards, so we reported it stolen, so our job is to wait for the guy to come down, you know? So he gets in the car, you want it? I said, sure. See, a lot of cops, they want to make collars. So they would tip you, they say, you want the collar? I would take it if it was a good collar. But you write it the way it is. If you lie on an affidavit, or if you lie that you made a collar, you made a search, if you gave me a collar, I'm going to say, Officer so-and-so gave me the collar, he witnessed this, I'll tell it the way it is. Because it's perjury if all of a sudden I start lying. Oh, well, yeah, I saw the guy. That's perjury. You're going to get locked up. Years ago, you can get away with it. You know you can get away with it? Back in the 60s, early 70s, the cops will give you, you can give me your collar, and then I would go over there and lie that I'm the guy that witnessed, I'm the guy that took the gun out of his pocket, even though you took it out of his pocket. See, years ago, judges were your friends, DAs were your friend. That changed in the what do you call it? In the 90s. Mm-hmm. That's perjury. So don't get greedy. Just tell it the way it is. Take your collar, make your overtime. You know. But what I was going to say, I was okay, and that's how we used to. But that particular day, as I'm waiting to see, hopefully somebody coming down and getting to the car, I hear boom, 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 shots fired. So this Central saying what happened was on 163rd Street, anti-crime was coming up to citywide anti-crime. We're in a cab, you know, in a taxi, cruising. When they saw this, when they heard boom, boom, as they come across, they see this girl down. She had just been shot. And they start chasing this. They didn't know what they had. They start chasing this guy. I get to the scene. They tell me, the radio dispatcher says that citywide anti-crime has just chased a guy into 164th Street, around the corner. When I get there, it was almost dark. Citywide anti-crime, Italian kid, plain clothes, comes over with his gun drawn. I could have shot this guy. I told him, you don't do that. We're uniform. I don't know who you are. I had it, and not embarrass him and tell him, don't do that. And make a long story short, in front of the building, they don't know what they have. And I asked, there were drug dealers that I knew from the area, and they didn't want no part of me. So I said, did the guy come in here? One guy just moved his eyes, signaling me. He went in. He wasn't going to say it. Yeah, he went in. Make a long story short, we got the shooter. Found the gun he got rid of the gun that he just killed his girl with, and in the yard. What had happened was the day before, this shooter, my partner and I, stopped him. I had information on him. Stopped him, pulled him over. But we were careful. Whenever we stopped somebody, we were careful. Always spread. Too many cops got shot for being careless. When we pulled him over, got him,